Joining us right now on the Illinois Center for Broadcasting hotline, we have the star of See No Evil 2, WWE Superstar, Kane. Kane, how you doing?
Afternoon.
Afternoon.
Good, how are you guys?
Doing good. So, Kane, you're the star of the brand new movie See No Evil 2. That's coming out on digital HD and video on demand October 17th, and on Blu-ray and DVD October 21st. Obviously, you're returning to your role as serial killer Jacob Goodnight. Now, this is your second film working with the Soska sisters, and what's it like working with them?
Well, actually, this is the first, my first experience with Jen and Sylvia Soska. Gregory Dark directed See No Evil. This is the Soska sisters' first studio movie, and they're awesome. They're really, really, really great. And I've told them on a number of occasions not to forget me when they become big shot Hollywood actors, because that's what they're going to be. They understand the art of filmmaking, and they have a lot of passion, and they're just great girls, and they're great to work with.
Ken, I was wondering, of the two movies so far, have you had a favorite murder you've been able to commit? Is it kind of fun being involved in creative ways to kill innocent bystanders?
I think probably the one that everybody talks about was in the first movie. Jacob shoves a cell phone down a girl's throat, and I know for anyone that's ever been in a movie theater and the cell phone starts ringing, that's exactly what they want to do. So that's the one everybody talks about.
Yeah, that actually is that is pretty much everyone's fantasy, to probably shove a cell phone down somebody's throat. Do you have any other desires? I mean, you've pretty much done horror movies so far. Is there any other genre you'd like to give it a shot at, or do you think you're pretty much made to be a horror actor?
Yeah, I'd like to do other things, of course. One of the great things about WWE is the fact that I have been able to do a lot of different things, and I've been pretty versatile. I went from being the mask guy that didn't talk to sort of a superhero type mask guy, to losing the mask, then coming back, putting the mask back on, then being with Daniel Bryan and Team Hell No, and being the comic portion of the show, the guys that added the real humorous entertainment element to the program, to now wearing a suit and being a corporate lackey. So, but that's what makes performing fun. Is being able to do different things. Because if you keep on doing the same stuff over and over again, eventually it gets stale.
Yeah.
And I think any actor or performer is going to tell you that. And it's challenging to do different roles. So, yeah, I mean, I'm a big guy, and I'm big, intimidating dude and all that. But nevertheless, yeah, I'd like to do some different things. I think it would be fun.
We're here with Kane on That Wrestling Show on SportsNotChicago.com. Once again, he is the star of See No Evil 2, which will be on digital high def and video on demand on October 17th, and Blu-ray and DVD on October 21st.
One thing that you mentioned was your different personas over the years. And when you put on the mask, it seems to me like you go through a transformation of sorts and you become the Demon Kane. Did you go through something similar when you became Jacob Goodnight in the movie?
Well, of course, yeah, Jacob is a different character, But, people ask me if I had to do any preparation or that sort of stuff, and not really. I mean, I had to shave my head, and that was about it. But as far as, how do you get into Jacob's mind? Well, I don't know if that's really a place I want to go. So, whatever preparation was, just, getting ready for the movie and sort of getting into that frame set, or that frame of mind. The movies are a lot different than what we do in WWE, of course, because in WWE we're interacting with our audience, and we're feeding off of them, they're feeding off of us, and there's a lot of energy and a lot of emotion, and of course all live. And then in the movie, it's a very antiseptic and sterile environment. What makes actors great is their ability to bring emotion out when there really isn't anything there. If you've ever been on a sound stage, it's the most boring place in the world. And the fact that you have people that can convince you of whatever emotions or whatever they want to that they're going through. You know, that's something that, you know, people that don't work in that industry, you know, don't understand how hard that is and don't understand how good the people that are able to do that really are.
Right. And you mentioned Daniel Bryan before. You won the tag team titles 11 times, and you've obviously had a lot of partners. I think you had, 7 of them? So my question is, who is your favorite partner out of all of them?
Undertaker, you know, because our careers have been so linked, you know, especially mine with his. You know, and the fact that, you know, just, you know, we went from being mortal enemies to becoming tag team champions in the Brothers of Destruction, which is also available on DVD as we speak. But I have been fortunate to, have some other great partners as well. You know, Big Show, X-Pac, Rob Van Dam, and Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan is very unique because it was completely different than anything I've ever done before, you know, and that's, the Team Hell No stuff was some of the most fun times I've had in WWE as a performer because it was so much different than anything I've done before.
Yeah, it was actually a lot of fun to watch, too, especially the anger management segments with Dr. Shelby.
Yeah.
Do you still keep in touch with Dr. Shelby?
I do, actually. I do, yeah. Yeah. He's a really cool guy. Dr. Shelby is a drama teacher in real life in Los Angeles, and he's a good guy.
Awesome. Since you're a part of the Authority, you obviously have an interest in the 2 Hell in a Cell matches, and you've had issues with all 4 of these guys. Do you have any preference as to who wins?
Well, of course, I would like to see Randy Orton and Seth Rollins go out victorious because they're part of the Authority along with me. You know, so you know, I think Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. I think the future of WWE is in good hands with those guys, as well as you know, guys like Roman Reigns. And you know, I can't wait to see, particularly in that match. I can't wait to see what those 2 guys are going to do.
Once again, we're here. Sorry about that. Once again, we're here with Kane on That Wrestling Show on SportsNowChicago.com. He's the star of See No Evil 2. Once again, that's coming out on digital HD and video on demand October 17th, and Blu-ray and DVD October 21st. You've been in the WWE a while, and you're probably looked up to as somewhat of a leader and a mentor in the locker room, I would think. Is that something you embrace, or is that something? I mean, have you accepted that role, if that is indeed your role, reluctantly, or is it something you kind of look forward to being able to impart your wisdom on some of the younger guys?
No, it's something that I embrace because we have a great group of young guys.
Yeah.
Triple H has done a great job in Orlando with the Performance Center and with NXT. We have a great group of people coming up. And as I mentioned before, you know, Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns, Bray Wyatt, Cesaro, you know, all those guys are just, they're great performers and they're great guys. And, you know, anything that I can do to help them, I wouldn't be where I am if people didn't help me get to where I am.
Yeah.
So I think the guys like me have a responsibility to help those guys get to where they should be going.
Yeah, it's funny because part of the reason why I asked that is because, you know, we talk occasional, you know, like football and stuff on this show, and you hear things like, oh, like Brett Favre, for example, didn't really want anything to do with Aaron Rodgers, but it seems like maybe you can get away with that more in football as opposed to you could with wrestling, where, I mean, it's got to be vital to help young guys.
Yeah, it does. I mean, because the future and the health of our company depends on those guys. You know, there's going to be a time when I can't do it anymore, or I just don't want to do it as often as I do it now.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, someone's going to have to fill those shoes. You know, so yeah, it's very important. And you know, a guy that doesn't get a lot of credit but does the same thing is John Cena. You know,
yeah.
John really helps guys out. And I think that's great, and it all goes back to that's what makes our product so great, you know, is not it's not just one guy, no matter who it is, that makes our product great. It's the fact that we're all trying to make a product as good as we possibly can.
Yeah, makes sense.
For sure. You've been inside the Hell in a Cell before. What's it like inside that structure?
I'll tell you what it's like on top of it. I've been up there a couple times.
That's gotta be
it's really scary to your way up. Yeah. But yeah, it's something, and it's almost like you're in a bubble though, because you have in the elimination chamber somewhat the same way. You almost have this barrier between you and the live audience. But nevertheless, it really is what they say it is. It really is a very demanding match, and like I said, I can't wait for this pay-per-view to see what Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose are going to do inside Hell in a Cell.
For sure, I'm definitely looking forward to that. I've been enjoying the rivalry between Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. So you've been world champion twice. Are you going to possibly challenge Brock Lesnar in the future for the WWE World Heavyweight title?
Well, you never say never, and who knows, maybe I will.
Once again, we're here with Kane on That Wrestling Show, sportsonchicago.com. He's the star of See No Evil 2, which is coming to digital, HD, video, and on-demand October 17th, Blu-ray and DVD October 21st. Is there any other fellow big men in the business that you haven't worked with? If you could work with one big guy that you've never worked with, who do you think it would be?
My fantasy match would be against Andre the Giant.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's never going to happen. But he was just the guy, the man.
Yeah.
He had sort of everybody else, and then you had Andre. And so that's the match that I've always wanted to have. I've actually been in the ring with Hulk Hogan. I did have a match against him, but we were in tag matches and stuff like that. And that's always an honor. And I've also had matches with Ric Flair. Which again is just an honor. As far as big guys, Andre defined what a big guy in our business is, and I don't think there's ever going to be another one like him.
I was a little curious about whereabouts what promotions did you watch as a kid, and or when you were younger, whatever, and who did you who were you a big fan of when you were a youngster?
Sure. Yeah, I actually grew up a couple hours north of St. Louis, and I grew up in the country. We didn't have cable TV, so if the wind blew right on a Saturday night, I could catch All-Star Wrestling out of Kansas City, which is a promotion owned by a gentleman named Bob Geigel.
Uh-huh.
And he had guys like Bulldog Bob Brown, who was from Winnipeg, Manitoba, also Ray Candy, Bruiser Bob Sweetan. Those are some of the guys that I remember. Harley Race lived in Kansas City, so Harley was there occasionally, but I didn't see him very often on TV. But once a month, we would go to my grandmother's in St. Louis on the weekend. And I think it was Saturday mornings, they had wrestling at the Chase. And at that time, St. Louis was the mecca of professional wrestling. So I saw guys, like the Von Erichs, Flair, just pretty much everybody. Baron Von Raschke, I was like 8 years old. Baron Von Raschke scared me so bad that I actually had to turn the TV off. He's an 8-year-old kid, and here's the, yeah. But so, then once I got to high school, it of course became guys like Hulk Hogan. I was always a big Road Warrior fan too. But Hulk Hogan, Randy Savage, Ricky Steamboat, all those guys.
Yeah, it's funny. Before I let Nick ask you another question, I think it's funny that you mentioned that you were scared of Baron Van Raschke just because my girlfriend's son is scared to death of you. So I think that's kind of funny, actually. It's nice to hear that you actually were afraid of someone too at one point.
Yeah, I was a little kid.
So you mentioned when you were talking about being a locker room leader that someday you might not be wrestling anymore. And I know you're involved with politics And my question is, do you have any aspirations to run for political office once you retire?
I don't know. I'm in a rough business now, but politics is exponentially rougher than what I do. So I don't know about that. I have a lot of different things going on, and I also try to take things just one day at a time. And I'm enjoying my time in WWE, and as long as I can perform at a high level and I'm still having fun and I'm still delivering, that's what I'm going to do.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Kane. It's been a pleasure. Once again, Kane, the star of See No Evil 2, which is going to be on digital HD and video on demand October 17th and Blu-ray and DVD October 21st. Once again, thank you very much for joining us, Kane.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Ken.
Thanks.